Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. And above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to another segment of Album Spotlight. Now, the band I'm going to be talking about today, I've not mentioned on the channel with regards to doing any type of top 10 lists or album rankings, so I thought it was about time I changed that. And the album I'm going to be talking about in Album Spotlight is considered to be this band's breakthrough release. The band are Toto, and obviously from the graphic behind me, the album up for discussion in Album Spotlight today is Toto IV. Now, just a bit about the band. Forming in Los Angeles in 1977, the band would quickly sign upon formation to Columbia Records. They would release their debut self-titled album in 1978, featuring the single Hold the Line. The band would go on to release 14 studio albums over their career, the most recent and last album being Old is New, released in 2018, and would eventually go on to sell 50 million albums worldwide. Now, regarding the caliber of musicians that were and still are in Toto, they are considered to be the best studio musicians that Los Angeles, California has ever turned out. Among the members of Toto, they have played with such artists as Lionel Richie, Boss Gags, Lisa Del Bello, Stevie Nicks, Barbra Streisand, and Michael Jackson, just to name a few. Now, with regards to Toto 4, in terms of the lineup, Toto has always had what I would call a revolving door in terms of a lineup, but playing on Toto 4 is considered to be the classic lineup of the band. And playing on the album, you have Bobby Kimball on lead vocals and backing vocals, Steve Lukather on drums, lead vocals, backing vocals, and piano, David Paich on keyboards and lead vocals, backing vocals, horn and orchestral arrangements, Steve Porcaro on keyboards and lead vocals, David Hungate on bass, and the late Jeff Porcaro, rest in peace, on drums and percussion. Now, with regards to Total 4, the information I have, released on April 8th, 1982, again for Columbia Records, the album was recorded between June 81 and January of 82, listed as AOR, jazz rock, pop, and the dreaded term yacht rock. And upon listening to this album, yes, that's all I can say about the genre listing. The album was produced by Toto and would earn, sorry, 6 Grammy Awards, eventually achieving 4 times platinum status in the US and 2 times platinum status in Canada. Now, between the Japanese, UK, and North American markets, 6 singles were released from Toto 4, those singles being Rosanna, Africa, Make Believe, I Won't Hold You Back, Afraid of Love, and last but not least, Waiting for Your Love. Now, the history of Toto 4 is this. The band releasing their self-titled debut in 78 had a pretty sizable hit with Hold the Line. They would release 2 more albums, those albums being Hydra in 79 and Turn Back in 81. Both albums failed in terms of commerciality, in terms of the singles that were released and the number of units moved. And they were approached by Columbia Records and told that for the next release, they had to come up with a hit or they were off the label. So the band basically buckled down and came up with the music that would eventually turn out to be the music for Toto 4. And I gotta tell you, I have been listening to this album and I think it's a pretty good album. I think it's a really solid release. I will admit I am a latecomer to being a fan of Toto. I have the Columbia Records box set, which is in the Bermuda Triangle, which is across the hall. But I have listened to this album and I think it is just wonderful. I'll get into it. Now, the album starts off with Rosanna, the lead off single, at 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Amazing. In my notes, I have here AM, FM, Platinum. When this single came out, this son of a bitch was all over the radio and all over MTV and the burgeoning music channels that were coming up in Canada. Uh, in my notes, I have here AM, FM, Platinum. Great bass and drums. What I like about the drum pattern is it's a bit of a jazz drum pattern to me, more of a shuffle jazz drum pattern. There's a wonderful breakdown section that comes in and beautiful horns that come in as well. and also wonderful but short, effective guitar solo from Steve Lukather that comes in. Also, he does a wonderful vocal on lead between him and Bobby Kimball. And what I also like too is the great stabs that come in between his vocals, Steve Lukather's vocals, and Bobby Kimball's vocals. Up next is the next single, Make Believe, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. A nice piano-driven track, great melody, and nice sax on the track. Up next is the ballad from Steve Lukather, I Won't Hold You Back, at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Great melody, nice solo strings that come in, and great guitar solo. What I like about Steve Lukather's guitar solo on our guitar tone overall on the album is when he does a solo, it's like the chandelier dropped. I mean, it's a really good, thick guitar tone that he brings in, and it is wonderful. Track four is a piece called Good For You uh, at 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Really good prominent drums on this track, a steady rhythm guitar, catchy melody, a nice thick guitar tone again on the solo for the outro. Just wonderful, wonderful. Side one ends with It's a Feeling at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. And it's a good way to end off side one. You know, just a nice, good, I would say, R&B feel to it. Uh, but yeah, just a really nice way to finish off side one for the album. Side two starts off with Afraid of Love, which is another single from the album featuring Steve Lukather on lead vocals at 3 minutes and 52 seconds. A good guitar driven track. Side two is what I would call the more guitar driven tracks for the album. Um, Good prominent drums from Jeff Porcaro. What I do like about this album is that the drums are recorded really well. I mean, they are prominent in the mix, they are crisp, they are clean, really good full snare drum sound on the drums. They don't sound flat or tinny at all. I think it's just wonderful. Up next is Lovers in the Night at 4 minutes and 27 seconds. A great piano in the intro and wonderful guitar solo. Nice chugging rhythm guitar in this piece. Up next is a piece called We Made It, 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Good track. Good track. The final single from the album, Waiting for Your Love, is track 9. What I have in my notes here is clocks in at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. What I have in my notes here is it's an R&B tinged funk track and a nice synth solo on this piece. Now, the album ends with track number 10, Africa, at 4 minutes and 55 seconds. This juggernaut of a single is still played along with Rosanna on classic rock radio today. Okay? In my notes, I have here great rhythm, really percussive on the intro. Looped or not, drum machine or not. I mean, it is what it is. It's wonderful. Nice subtle cowbell and gong used on this track. What I'm hearing with regards to the synths on here, you have wonderful Asian elements in terms of the instrumentation on the track. Great drum fills that lead into the chorus from Jeff Porcaro, and wonderful melody on this track. Great catchy melody. And between the vocals of David Paish on the lead and on the verses, sorry, and Bobby Kimball that go into the chorus, it is just wonderful. This SOB Africa was made to be heard. And when you hear Steve Lukather talk about the track and in terms of the history, they still have no idea lyrically what it's about. The track, as he was saying in an interview for Sunset Sound, it was basically an experiment to see what they could do, in terms of just coming up with some music that they could play to, like a rhythm track, and seeing what they could put on top of it. And they had no idea that this track would be as big of a hit as it was. It was a wonderful track. It's a wonderful way to end off the album. And yeah, this album basically put Toto on the map. And unfortunately, with Toto, they have a history of, hitting with an album and then the next two, uh, not as big of a hit, and then coming back with another one and doing okay, and the next album not being a hit. Unfortunately, in terms of album sales, they were never able to match the success of Toto IV. And Steve Lukather has said that in recent interviews that the band opted not to tour behind Toto IV. And Steve Lukather looks at that as a missed opportunity. He regrets the fact that they didn't tour behind Toto IV because he feels that if they had toured behind Toto IV, that they would have solidified themselves as an arena rock band, as a stadium rock band that could fill stadiums and sell records and pretty much be a viable, successful band, right? This album from, how can I put this? Some people would call this album top heavy. I mean, it starts off with Rosanna, Make Believe, I Won't Hold You Back, Good for You, and It's a Feeling. Would would that be considered top heavy? Yeah, I would consider that top heavy. Not that the rest of the tracks are bad, but when you have the 1, 2, 3 punch of Rosanna, Make Believe, and I Won't Hold You Back, as the first three tracks on the album, yeah, in some cases it would be considered top heavy. It is a great album. It sold for a reason. It's still selling today. So check it out. You can stream this on YouTube. You can get it wherever you buy albums, on Amazon, on Discogs, or better yet, go to your local record store. Sony still has this in circulation. It has not been discontinued. And you know what? It's a great album. And in terms of as a gateway, I would say this would be a good introduction to Toto, for any newcomers coming into the arena of Toto in terms of listening to their music. I think that this would be a good gateway album for you to listen to if you were to get into the band. It's unfortunate that they could not duplicate the success of Toto IV, but you know what? Unfortunately, that is the way it is. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Album spotlight on Toto IV. Please put down in the comments below your opinion of the album. Which song is your favorite on the album? Which album is your favorite from Toto? Right? And yeah, please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we got coming up. Join us on X. We're on X now. And I'm going to be doing more shows with Ken Cheshire, with Bill Schuster. We're doing, I believe it's to be a series of episodes called Outlaws and Heroes with Bill Schuster, and Ken Cheshire is joining us on that episode, talking about country rock. And Bill will be leading that episode because country rock is not my forte. We'll be doing more episodes with Ken Cheshire, live album spotlight on Yes, for Yes songs. And we're going to be doing an album discussion on The Fix, Shuttered Room, and also an acoustic corner episode on Saga featuring the album Symmetry, featuring Ken Cheshire. So please join us for that. All right? Take care of yourselves and one another, and we'll see you soon again on Music Den. Bye for now.